Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Again, I'm Josh Runquist, along with the one who listens to everything from LFO to Bango Tango. We got the Metal Faerie.
Hello, everybody.
Now, we have both been through a week of hell over the past
week.
It's been a really rough week for us personally, in different ways.
Yeah.
But how are you feeling right now on this nice looking Sunday as I look outside as we're recording
nice.
out here?
Yeah, you know what? I am here. I have a little bit of energy right now, so let's do some talking.
All right. Well, we got a lot of talking to do. Thanksgiving, holidays,
Yes.
heavy music,
Yes.
wrestling, and so much more.
And drama.
I wish I had that
Gong.
well, that aluminum
Oh, yeah, that's what it
thing
was,
that Roger from American Dad had. Drama.
Yes, that was the best.
And then flickering the lights on and off. But you know what? Let's start off with some of that drama that we call the news.
Yes, so we'll start with the most depressing point, and then we'll move up from there because that's how we like to roll on this show.
It's true.
So we did have one celebrity death this week, and that was Charlie Dominici from Extreme Theater, and then some solo stuff as well.
From Extreme Theater? Is that like Japan Extreme Theater or King's Extreme Theater?
It's like X Japan, yes.
Okay. No, the original singer of Dream Theater has passed away. And, you know, we had a little kerfluffle once or twice online, back when I had him as a friend on Facebook.
Oh.
Yeah. Of course, it all came down to political issues and stuff like that.
Oh,
I won't go into details about it, but it did leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But, yeah, the very first Dream Theater album, When Dream and Day Unite, back in 1989, which I can't believe it's already been that long.
I know.
But, you know, I can't take away the fact that he was an important part of the band. And while I will always appreciate every other album more, there is still moments of When Dream and Day Unite that I still enjoy. An album that you've never checked out.
Probably, yeah.
And, you know, it's just really sad to see him go because of
Yeah.
how integral he was a part of the band.
Definitely. So, moving on. Snoop Dogg has vowed to stop smoking weed.
I'm surprised you didn't put this as the saddest part of the news.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's to be determined still.
I think it was either The Onion or The Hard Times that said that Snoop Dogg was high when he said he was quitting weed. But no, just like more people know him for smoking weed than his music.
Yeah.
Than his TV shows with Martha Stewart.
I mean, that is the highlight of his life.
Yes, I mean, like, he literally just laid back with his mind on his money, on his money, on his mind.
That is true. That is true.
Now,
while rolling down the street.
yes, and now he's not rolling anything anymore.
No.
And just think, like, several years ago when it hit on the internet that he hired a professional joint roller. What are they gonna do
They
now?
are out of job in this economy.
As someone who doesn't partake,
Yeah.
talking to someone who also doesn't partake,
Right.
what do you think of this?
Maybe Martha rubbed off on him a little bit, you know? Gave him some advice.
How do you know Martha didn't start partaking because of Snoop?
I mean, if she did, she'd like grow it herself in her fancy garden, so it'd be like a special kind or something. But I don't see that for her. I don't see that for her.
Now, do you think that his stock is gonna plummet because of this news?
No, because like not too long ago I heard about how like he has like CDs out there for kids like nursery rhymes or something, but him doing it. So I think he's building more of a popularity with a group that like wouldn't want him on like smoking anyways. So I think it's gonna make him go up.
All right, so he's taking the Ice Cube approach, where
Yes.
you know, start making the kids movies and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So,
there you go.
We'll see what happens, though. Up next, Dolly Parton's rock album has come out. We heard a few songs of it on the radio by chance, and
what did you think?
oof. Now, I have a soft spot for Dolly Parton, like, especially acting-wise from the 80s, some of her Christmas movies, Smoky Mountain Christmas, if we want to get particular, but we'll get into that one in probably like a month or so. Red Round. But... oh, girl, rock isn't your thing. Rock isn't your thing. And I mean, it's not even like rock, you know, it's not like she's, you know, getting some Flesh God Apocalypse going or something like that. You know, it's just very lighthearted.
But Rob Halford is on there.
That is true. That is true. I mean, anything for the money. But, yeah.
From what I've heard of it, if you love, and I mean love, Donnie and Marie, this is the album for you. If you think the Pat Boone version of the heavy metal classics was something that that you thoroughly enjoyed, like the theme to the Osbournes with
Yes.
Pat Boone doing Crazy Train. If that's your bag,
Yeah.
this is the album for you.
Yeah, this could be your album of the year.
For everyone else, it's a noble attempt.
Yes.
But I don't think Dolly Parton wants this to be her last album either. So I think she's
No.
going right back into country next year.
Yeah.
And probably trying to make the country album as fast as she possibly can.
I mean, the thing is, like, she was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which she was against at first, but then she is like, I don't know if she felt like pressured into accepting it anyways, and then she felt pressured to, like, you know, actually put rock music out there, even though, again, these awards mean nothing. Like, they don't really know what the genres even are, so it doesn't matter, but I feel like that's what kind of led her into this well, and then she just had to go along with it.
Oh yeah, it's a publicity stunt. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, she is a very good person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Dollywood, and then all the stuff that she does for kids' literature and stuff, make sure that they have books and everything. You can't deny that.
Oh, definitely.
Just, you know, I don't expect any Anul Nathrak covers in the future.
No, I don't either. Up next, some scandalous news. So Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff
Diddy.
Daddy, Diddy, whatever you want to go with these days. He had some accusations brought against him by Cassie. They've now been settled, of course, out of court because money talks. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of surprised it took this long for it to come out.
Yeah.
Because I figured, like, when everything was going, like, a couple years ago, like, why didn't it happen then?
Yeah.
Especially when it was something that's happened, like, almost 2 decades ago. But that said, you know, an innocent person doesn't settle out of court.
Yeah, no.
So, and it's not like he doesn't have the money to go to court.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
never being a Sean Combs fan, no matter what his persona was, I'm not going to stop listening to his music because I don't listen to it.
Right.
I mean, I can't stop doing what I'm already doing.
Exactly.
But, yeah, just, it's a very sticky situation.
Yeah, and also, if you're familiar with the Making the Band days and
I'm locking up the studio.
the band Danity Kane, Aubrey O'Day, formerly of Danity Kane, has come out with, on, like, I think it was on Instagram, making a post about it, how, like, he was such a shady person, but, like, being totally against the settlement because of, you know, money shouldn't be the thing that rules everything, and blah, blah, blah.
And then people like Mariah Carey have taken all of their pictures off social media that has Diddy in them in some way, shape, or form. So
Which speaks volumes.
it speaks when Mariah Carey
Yeah.
does it speaks volumes.
Totally. Then just a couple lighthearted things and a little bit more of a discussion point, but Last of Us 2 is getting remaked.
Yes, it is. Only after coming out in 2020. The game is being remastered for the PS5.
Yes.
There's going to be some new features included in there, like a survival mode where if you get killed once, you start all the way in the beginning.
Oh, dear, no.
Well, I'm assuming they changed some things up in there, but,
Maybe.
you know, that's for the diehards.
Yeah.
More accessibility options, which is always a great thing. And I think that's coming out in the next couple weeks or so, the PlayStation accessibility controller.
Oh, nice.
And it's only $90.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, like you easily could have gone for like 150, 200, but
Yeah.
they're only doing it for 90, which is really nice.
Good.
But the biggest point a lot of people have with this is, yeah, it's only been like 3 years.
Yeah.
Why? And, you know, it's like, oh, they're going to be charging this amount. But it turns out, if you already have a copy, it's a $10 upgrade.
Thank goodness.
So shut your mouth. Like, it's $10 upgrade. And
Yeah.
it regularly goes for sale for like $20, so you're paying $30 if you don't already have it.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, including us, were kind of scorned from the remake of the first one because you haven't been able to just do an upgrade from that. Like, you have to pay the full price for that.
And they should. They really should.
They should what?
They should be doing what they are doing
yeah.
with part 2.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that's what a lot of people had in mind going into this one. So maybe they hadn't heard yet that they could do the upgrade, which is very much appreciated.
But it's all the more reason to wait for the official announcement, not the leaks.
Oh, sure. But I understand fears coming up because it's just something that comes up. But yeah, I mean, I think they're using the show and its popularity to the fullest point, like getting any money they can.
Oh, yeah,
off
they're
of it.
milking it dry
I mean,
completely.
That's why it's like coming out just a few years after its initial release. And
they're going to be doing the same thing for their Horizon games as well, because that's going to be a show. I can't remember if it's on Netflix or Prime or something like that. God of War War as well. That's gonna be on and Fallout.
Yeah.
Fallout is coming out on our anniversary, April 12th,
Yeah.
2024. There's a Fallout series starting.
I would say I definitely recommend, if you don't have Last of Us 2 already, get it now while it's cheap, because I anticipate it going up in price once the new version comes out.
Yeah, especially go for like the physical version, because I'm sure GameStop or Goodwill or something like that would have them very, very cheap.
Yes.
And then it's only a $10 upgrade.
Exactly.
And also with that, even though this is in the TV section,
Yeah.
The Last of Us Season 2 is about to start rolling again. And I'm just so curious what direction they're going to be going in.
Yeah.
Is it going to be going with what the game did, or is it not going to be going with what the game did?
Yes. Well, and off that note, our favorite person, one of our favorite people from Last of Us, his other show, Mandalorian, he's not going to be returning to that.
I've heard a little bit more that they might show him in like flashbacks, or he might
Okay.
be like a guest appearance or two.
Yeah.
But it is no longer about the Mandalorian and
Yeah.
Grogu. It is going to be about Bo-Katan.
Which is such a waste. Like, Grogu is like the selling point of this show.
It is.
Like, nobody wants to see the show without that cute little thing walking around.
I will never forget when we first watched it. Like,
Yes.
you were kind of into it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until you saw him for the first time.
He's so cute.
And you just instantly fell in love.
Yes. I mean,
In his little egg bed
Yes.
vehicle thing.
Yes. Grogu or bust.
Yes.
Harley Quinn has been renewed for season 5 with Max.
Yes, this is the latest news. Actually, before I hit record, this was the
Yes,
latest
yes.
news that I saw. For some weird reason, when I'm on my computer, Facebook is weird, where like I'm scrolling and I'm reading things, and then all of a sudden it just decides to refresh on its own.
Yeah.
And I just saw glimpses. I saw Harley Quinn, and I saw by Max. So that scared me, thinking that it got canceled. So I
Yeah.
had to look it up myself. But no, it is coming back for season 5.
Yeah.
And of course, the Kite Man show is going to be coming at some point. I imagine it's
Yeah.
going to be 2024, early 2024.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, and because Kite Man is coming out, I was hopeful Harley Quinn would at least have another season or two, so...
What are
I'm
your
glad to hear
hopes for
about it.
Kite Man?
I just hope he doesn't lose his charm that he had in the earlier seasons of Harley Quinn. Like, he was just hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was great. Hell yeah, he was great. Kite Man, hell yeah, coming
Yes.
soon to Max.
Yes, I'm curious to see, he owns a bar in the new series. Like, who all comes in to visit? Who's the regulars? What are their styles and stuff like that,
I think it's gonna be me,
Yeah.
Bane.
I'm sure Bane will be there. Finally, we have a lot of people, or celebrities I should say lately, but people in general, who have been quitting X. Most notably, Noodles from Offspring has announced this, Gene Simmons, and also Mick Foley from wrestling fame.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that are quitting X.
Yes.
And for a lot of good reasons. One, I don't know what happened to Elon Musk, but I feel like he went from like superhero to supervillain to ultra supervillainy. He's gonna be charging people to use X, to even access it.
No.
Why?
Girl, no.
You're not vetting anybody, you're just
No.
making... No one wants to pay for social media after decades now
Yeah.
of getting it for free. Like, I feel like if I put my tinfoil hat on,
Yeah.
he bought X just to bring it down and destroy the company. And I don't think
Yeah.
he cared how many billions of dollars he would lose in the process.
Yeah.
He just did this out of spite.
Yeah, I think he's so wealthy and so like privileged that he gets these wacky ideas and just like goes off the rails with anything. Like, everything he touches is insane at this point.
Yeah. And of course his dad runs a blood diamond industry, so that's where the wealth came from.
Yes.
And he had some incredible ideas.
Yeah.
In television, like that's not the name, that's a video game. Or Starcom or something like that, where people would get free cell phone reception anywhere in the world.
Oh, yeah.
He's working on that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Tesla, all electric vehicle, a great idea.
Yeah.
Turning Twitter into X so all of your edgelord incel fan base can just praise you all the time, and
Yeah.
and everyone who doesn't like you will leave.
Yes.
Bad idea.
Yes.
And all of the other outrageous things that you've done in the process. So again, I can't blame people for quitting. I've quit for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. And when I talk about social media, I don't bring up X because I don't go on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure the profiles are still up there, but I
Yeah.
don't go on them.
Yeah, I don't really go on mine never either.
And I used to all the time just to see all the wrestler Twitter tweets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now, not so much.
Not so much.
Breaking news.
Oh.
Yes. After 9 years of being with the band, formerly of Angra, Kiko has officially left Megadeth.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
I will be reading this now.
Okay.
As this just popped up just now
Okay.
on Facebook.
Okay.
Dear Megadeth fans, I want to share with you a decision that has not been easy for me. In September, I had to step away from the US leg of the tour for family reasons. Looking ahead during 2024, we anticipate an even heavier touring schedule for Megadeth. After thorough reflection and discussions with Dave Mustaine and Megadeth's management, we have collectively agreed that it is the right move to extend my absence. I don't want to hinder any of the band's plans or hard work of all the incredible people involved in this tour. My 9 years with Megadeth have been an incredible journey, filled with countless pinch-me moments, unforgettable tours, a Grammy Award for Dystopia, a Grammy nomination for various accolades of the sick, the dying, and the dead. Weird are just a few highlights. It is hard to put into words the magnitude of these experiences. I am sure any heavy metal fan can appreciate how incredible it is to play and create music in a band you grew up listening to, and to share the stage with a guitar legend like Dave Mustaine, along with phenomenal musicians like James Lomenzo and Dirk Van Buren, not to mention the incredible crew. However, the most cherished aspect of these 9 years have been getting to know the incredible army of devoted Megadeth fans around the world. Your dedication is inspiring, and I have immense admiration and respect for all of you. Much love. See you soon. Kiko Luriero.
Interesting. So I wonder if Timu's going to be the new old-timer then.
Well, anything that gets him away from Winter Sun.
Well, that is true.
Yeah, I'm really shocked by this. The only time I've gotten to see Megadeth was Kiko on guitar.
Yeah.
And he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Although I wish I could have seen him with Angra. Although, maybe he can be with Angra now.
Maybe, yeah.
Would Angra accept him back?
That is the question.
Yeah, we didn't prepare for this whatsoever.
No.
It just this randomly came up.
We actually started the next section, then zoomed back to this one because you found the news.
Yes, so it's kind of very, very shocking. And
yeah.
Of course, this could affect a band that you love very much in Angra.
Yes.
A band that's very him-ha to you, like Megadeth, and a band that you loved but really don't care for anymore in Winter Sun.
Well, let's be clear. I don't like one member of Winter Sun and his antics.
But it is his band.
Yes, yes.
So just there's so many things that could be going on, and there might be more stuff that comes out after we record this, but we wanted to break the news here that Kiko is out of Megadeth.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what happens, but yeah, let's get Timu over to the States, closer to me.
I have no chance anymore. And now we've come to my favorite part of the show, the musical roulette of choosing 3 different songs for the Metal Faerie to hear. Will she be eviscerating some songs? Will she be enjoying them? Or will she think that they're okay? We're about to find out. So the first song is very premeditated, as before we started recording this week's show, I just got done doing an interview with Zorn from Zornheim to promote their brand new EP, The Forgotten Inmates, which came out last week through Noble Demon.
Yes.
Now, with this EP, it is variations on songs off their previous album, done in different ways. Some are folk songs, some are a cappella, some are done in French, some are acoustic. And I went with the very first track, arguably their best known song now.
Yeah.
Keep the Devil Away,
Yeah.
acoustic version.
Yes.
What did you think?
I love it. I mean, I love Zornheim. I know their last album was like in the top 3 of my albums for the year.
Yes, it was.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And this album is really good. Or EP rather.
Yeah.
Like just hearing the different versions of their songs, it's so cool hearing like an acoustic version of this song. Yeah, they're great. Love them.
Yeah, it's a short but sweet EP. It's 15 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
Keep the Devil Away is done twice, one in English, one in French, but
And I love a good song in French.
yeah, and just everything that goes into it. I think it's a really cool EP, and a really kind of, we talk about this in the interview, and I'm going to be bringing this up at the end of the episode as well to promote stuff. This is a good gateway to get people into the band, because he was talking about how many people have talked to him and said that they introduced this EP to people who don't even like metal, but they like these songs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's a rewarding experience experience. If that can work and be a gateway into metal, I'm all for it.
Definitely.
So next up, we went into a very different direction than Zornheim,
Yes.
with the band Faith No More, and off the album King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, we have the song Digging the Grave.
Yes.
One of the heavier Faith No More songs, and sounds nothing like Epic to those not in the know.
Yes.
What did you think?
So I will preface this by saying, before you, I was a big fan of Epic. That's it. But I have gotten to know a bit of Faith No More music because of you. And I enjoy what I hear. I don't know that I'd go off with many of his side projects, because he's a little out there for me sometimes. But I do enjoy more Faith No More now than I used to. So points for me.
Well, I mean, that's also the thing. Like, even Faith No More has some kind of wacky things.
Yeah.
But those are like contemporary top 40 compared to
Yes.
like Phantom Moss and Mr. Bungle. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I like the song. Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right. Yeah, it's a very catchy tune, and it should have been a top 40 single. I don't know why it wasn't.
Totally.
And finally, just to round out this trio and make all three of these songs very different from each other, I went with Steven Wilson off his brand new album, The Harmony Codex, and the song Inclination.
You sure did.
I sure did. And you sure heard it. So what did you think?
I found nothing enjoyable about this song at all. We were about 6 minutes in. I'm like, is it gonna like pick up or anything at any point? No, it's not. It's like being trapped in like the back room of a club with some terrible singer that all the girls are after.
He's not a terrible singer. What are you saying?
It's a terrible song, is what I'm saying. It's a terrible song.
Well, I do have to agree with you on that one. This is the album I think he lost me.
Yeah.
After all this
He
time.
lost a lot, like the cheese off his cracker.
I mean, I'm a gigantic Porcupine Tree fan. At least the rock and metal side, not the
Sure.
early days when they were doing like the psychedelic drug use stuff that they were doing. Like, I like the stuff where he met Michael Akerfeld and he started incorporating rock and metal.
Yeah.
And the early day Steven Wilson albums I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
But now that he's taken this direction of very indie pop electronica
Yeah,
thing,
very electronica.
it is not my bag, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard a bit of Steven Wilson through the years, and obviously we saw him at one point. Not my cup of tea overall, but that was definitely better than this.
Well, you never told me that before.
What?
That it wasn't your cup of tea.
Oh, you knew that.
No, I didn't.
I mean, some songs maybe were fine, but it's not somebody I've ever gone back to.
This is an episode of Revelations. Wow.
You thought I was like a big fan of Steven Wilson?
No, I just didn't think you had a problem with Porcupine Tree or Steven Wilson or any of that stuff.
I didn't say I had a problem with them. I just said they weren't my cup of tea, meaning it's
Yeah,
not
I know. That's your nice way of saying that they suck.
Sometimes.
Well, how am I
or
supposed
it's just not something, it's not the tea I choose typically, you know?
But you never choose that type of tea, so, it's like...
Exactly.
So...
That doesn't mean I have a problem with them.
I don't know how to take that. I mean, sometimes, it's like, it's whatever, and sometimes it's like, no, get that away from me, ew.
Well, then I'm pretty upfront about things I think are
On
gross.
the show, but, over the years, you've said a lot of teas not being your thing, but I never really got to
But
know.
I'm on the show right now. I'm saying this song is disgusting, but overall, not my cup of tea.
All right. Well, again, this is a revelation to me, so
okay.
I'm taken aback by it, so...
I understand.
And that's what you come for here in the Heavy Debriefings podcast.
Yes.
The crumbling of a relationship, one episode at a time. But no, I would rather you be honest to me than lie
definitely.
about that. So
Definitely.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
As painful as it is. a dagger in my heart. But thank you for your honesty, and that's why this is my favorite part of the show.
Yes.
Where we talk about 3 random songs.
Alrighty, up next we have some holiday content. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite Thanksgiving TV episodes, and then we're going to be talking about some of our Thanksgiving food too, because why not? So, are there any favorites that you have in mind off the bat?
Well, I do have to say this off the bat. This is the one that I've prepared for the least.
Yes.
1, the past week we've had.
Yeah.
That we won't go into.
Yeah.
2, Thanksgiving Thanksgiving on record has been one of the hardest times for me to go through, so it's really hard for me to have a lot of good memories when it comes to Thanksgiving.
I understand.
Although, thanks to something that we'll be talking about later in the show, I have a little bit more of an appreciation for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and say probably my favorite Thanksgiving episode is the Simpsons Thanksgiving episode, the first one.
Nice.
Where Bart ruins Lisa's centerpiece that she spent like weeks on making, throwing it in the fireplace, and then he runs away from home.
Yes.
It's a very sentimental one. It's a very early day season 2 episode, but I thoroughly enjoy it.
Awesome. I would say a couple of the Bob's Burgers ones are some of my favorites. They have quite a few good Thanksgiving ones, but two of my favorites. First is Turkey in a Can.
Yes.
So this is where Bob, his turkey ends up in the toilet, and they're trying to figure out what happened, who did it, and they end up finding out that Bob actually did it because he's been sleepwalking, dreaming about how he doesn't want Tina to grow up, and he thinks the turkey is Tina, and he's potty training.
Yes, a little tiny Tina.
Yes, a tiny Tina. So it's super cute, but
Very fun.
Bob takes Thanksgiving so seriously, so it's funny
It's his
to see
favorite
it.
meal of the year.
Yes.
Which is funny because he's a burger restaurant, but he cares more about Thanksgiving, which is turkey.
Yeah. And then I also love In a Decent Thanksgiving Proposal.
Oh, yes.
It's so good. So Mr. Fishoder gets Bob to cook Thanksgiving dinner for him because he's trying to impress this woman, and Bob's family needs to impersonate like being Fishoder's family. Essentially, Linda's his wife and the kids are his kids. So Bob doesn't get to have his traditional Thanksgiving at home.
He doesn't even get to eat.
No, while Bob is cooking, he drinks a little bit too much, and he calls he calls his turkey Lance. There's a lot of good conversations going on.
That's right, Bob.
And it's a crazy episode, but it's so good.
And what I love about it is like Fishoder's like paying off the kids and prize tickets, and whoever has the most gets to pick a prize from the prize room. And
Yes.
Louise does one of my favorite lines of the only prize I need is your love, Father.
Yes. It's so good. She's amazing. Outside of that, so more on my end, but Gilmore Girls. I love Gilmore Girls, if you don't know. And A Deep Fried Korean Thanksgiving is one of my favorites. This is one where they end up having to attend 4 different Thanksgivings in the course of a day, and it's just crazy. But it's fun. It's Gilmore Girls fun.
Damn you, Lorelai.
I also love Roseanne Thanksgiving episodes. They have a lot of good ones too. But my favorite is probably We Gather Together from season 2. It's the first actual Thanksgiving episode they did, but it's the season 2. There's just a lot of like drama about they're trying to get her parents to stay at a hotel, but they're insistent upon staying there. And Jackie is announcing to the family that she's a cop, and there's a lot of drama with that, and it's just hilarious.
You know, it's so funny when you think of like the early day Roseanne episodes, then you think of the last season of Roseanne and how much it went completely off the rails.
Yes, it's true. And then I also loved Thanksgiving 1991. This is the first one where Roseanne's dad, Al, was not at Thanksgiving because he was off with his mistress in the city. And it was just so funny.
I relate so much to Dan when it comes to his relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. It's very relatable with the situation that I've been in.
Yeah. And the only other thing I have is, it's technically not an episode special, but A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's so good.
I love that one. And
Yes. And I had the book growing up too, so I'd always look at the book too. It's so funny when they have like the table set with like their popcorn and pretzels and jelly beans instead of any real food.
You made some glaring omissions.
I did.
Yes.
Oh,
King of the Hill.
Oh, yes. How
All of their Thanksgiving episodes are fantastic.
How could I forget? Yes.
Like the one when they're stuck at the airport, when they're going to be visiting Peggy's parents, and
And the Thanksgiving turkey gets like taken by the bomb squad.
blown up. And then Hank thinks that he can bring propane on the airplane.
Yes.
Or the episode where Bobby learns about what happened to the Native Americans, and it was the white man that killed them off. So he has an anti-Thanksgiving, and
Yes.
and the whole John Redcorn subplot when it comes to that.
Yes.
All of their, and of course the legendary one. Or no, wait, that's Christmas. Got to save that for later.
Oh yes.
When Hank finds his mom and her new friend on the kitchen.
Yep. We'll talk about that next month.
Next month for sure. So let's let's get into the food.
Yes.
You seem to have more of a diverse appetite than I do.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just Thanksgiving, but in all life.
Yeah, yep.
I grew up with some of the worst Thanksgiving meals.
Yes.
Turkey that was only in the crock pot for a few hours.
Oh, no.
Hard mashed potatoes or au gratin potatoes. Like I told you before, I did not want au gratin potatoes, and I've always hated them because of how crunchy they are.
I remember serving you, it was either au gratin or scalloped potatoes the first time, and you're like, why aren't they crunchy?
Yeah, because that's what I grew up with.
Yes.
But I'm also the kind of kid that ate SpaghettiOs out of the can because that was all I could do, and I wasn't allowed to use the stove or the microwave or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but rather than going down that sad past, there was always some things that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But what do you enjoy about Thanksgiving food?
Yes. My favorite thing is stuffing. My mom makes the best stuffing ever, and I don't...
Butthole bread.
Yes. But it's just so good, and the sage and the sausage in it and everything, and it's just so good. It's so good. I also love sweet potatoes with a bunch of marshmallows and brown sugar on them.
Sounds so weird to me.
I know, you don't like any
sweet
of this
potatoes,
stuff.
Marshmallow, and what was the other? Cinnamon?
Sometimes cinnamon, brown sugar, sometimes
yeah.
you do maple.
That is so weird to me.
See, Josh here, he is a strictly turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, mac and cheese guy.
Well, you just took away all my talking points, but
well, go on about them. You go on about them.
And chocolate pie. There we go.
Yes. Come on.
It took me a long time for me to get into turkey. Because again, my mom would buy some kind of turkey and our oven never worked the entire lifespan that I lived at home. The door was broken, never got fixed. It was a gas oven.
Yeah.
So if we used it, we would die.
Yes.
I never had real good turkey. It was always a crock pot for like 3 or 4 hours because she thought that's all it would take.
Oh.
So I would always get sick after it. It was always too cold and dry. Mm-hmm. My mom is a terrible cook.
Yes.
And that goes for everything that she's ever cooked.
Yeah.
So the only things that I enjoyed were the stuff that was store made.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the mashed potatoes weren't bad. Like when she decided to use milk instead of water to make mashed potatoes. That's when it tasted a little bit better.
Yeah.
Same with the macaroni and cheese. When she used milk instead of hot water, that would taste a little bit better. But of course, my favorite was always the pie.
Yes.
Because she couldn't destroy that. It was store made. So, like all the different kinds of chocolate pie, from French silk to just plain old chocolate pie, Oreo kind.
Yes.
I'll take any of that stuff. I am a very meat and potatoes and, of course, calories and carbohydrates kind of guy. That would explain the diabetes.
So how about since we've been together, what's the best thing I make?
The turkey.
The turkey?
Because turkey actually tastes like turkey when you make it.
Now, do you like it better when I make it in the crock pot or when I make it in the oven?
I like both.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you actually make sure it's thoroughly cooked.
Oh, yes. There will be no raw turkey in this house.
But I want to know what the other ones taste like. I want to know what deep fried turkey tastes like.
Yes.
I want to know what smoked turkey tastes like. I've never had those.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they taste like.
Yeah, we gotta try
That'd be cool
sometime.
one day. And if we ever get a house, we might be able to try that one day.
Maybe.
But no, like the macaroni and cheese always tastes good. The mashed potatoes and gravy always taste good. I've learned I need gravy on my turkey.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And from all my hospital stays, especially 10 years ago during Thanksgiving time, all I had was turkey every meal.
Yes.
And it was so dry every single time. But it was all I ate. It was all I could keep down.
Yes.
But that's a story for another time. But
yes.
I'm going to get all mushy.
Yeah.
But just the fact that you make Thanksgiving meals and you care about it enough, make sure that I'm fed and everything, I truly get that.
Aw. I will also say that I love a good can of cranberry sauce, and not the actual cranberries. I want the gel that you have to like slice. That's what I enjoy.
Give me a slice.
And as far as dessert, I love apple pie with like the super crumbly top. If I'm gonna have pumpkin pie, I like a small slice with like a ton of whip with it. But yeah, that's me. Oh, and I love a good biscuit or crescent roll.
Yeah, those are good too. That's one thing I've grown to like. Like I used to be very particular about bread.
Yeah, well, you still are.
I no, even more so. Like I would never touch a dinner roll. I would never touch a croissant.
Yeah.
Because again, terrible cooking.
Yes.
But then once I tasted them, I was like, oh wow, this is actually good.
Yeah.
So other things when it comes to Thanksgiving, are we doing the other stuff for Thanksgiving this year?
What do you mean?
Are we watching the Macy's parade?
Oh, I think we should. Yeah.
Are we gonna watch the dog show?
I think we should. I mean, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. If you haven't gathered by now, we are loners.
We are.
If we have anyone that considers us friends, they're not within driving distance.
Yeah.
And we would never go see them.
Yeah.
But you, of course, are able to still see your family, but
Yes.
your family cares much more about Christmas than it does Thanksgiving.
Yeah. For the
So
most part.
you're still able to see them and everything. And I, of course, am just in my lonely mortal shell here in the apartments when all that stuff goes on. So, again, I just want to say it again. Over the 10 years that we've been together, you know, just like making sure that, you know, despite the hell that I've gone through with different holidays and stuff like that, you always do the best that you can to make sure that I have a better experience than I have before.
Aw.
All except for the first one, because I spent Thanksgiving in the hospital in the
Yes.
emergency room.
Yeah.
And filling up half a garbage bag full of stuff from my throat,
Ugh.
if you can gather what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really, really rough time, and the fact that
Yeah.
you stuck with me with that, and you still put up with all my shenanigans a decade later, I love you and thank you for trying to make some of the darkest holidays for me that much brighter. All right, so next up, we decided that we are gluttons for punishment.
We are.
Even though we keep talking about how we're not going to be watching AEW anymore,
Yep.
we decided to spend another $50 because they're going to be doing a pay-per-view every single month now. And that deal with HBO Max hasn't gone through yet, although I'm hoping it will, so we don't have to pay $50 a month for every pay-per-view. But regardless, we decided to watch Full Gear 2023 yesterday because what else were we going to do?
Well, we just need something to MSD last night.
Yeah. Again, really rough times we've been going through, and we
Yeah.
needed something to kind of unleash our anger at, or try to have some fun with, or just, well, really just get through the night.
Yeah.
So, before we get into it,
Yeah.
what was your overall thoughts on Full Gear?
It was okay. I mean, there were some good, enjoyable parts. There were some that not so much. I mean, I'd say probably a little bit better than I expected, just because I go in with such low expectations now. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. So we started off with 0 hour.
We did.
Which is actually really 0 hour and a half, because it was an
is.
hour and a half instead of an hour this time.
It is. Up first, we had Eddie Kingston, who is the Ring of Honor World Champion,
And
the New Japan. What is that? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, you're thinking of the open weight. That's not what that is.
Yeah, it's a strong open weight, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I
Yeah.
made a mistake, folks. I made a mistake. So, yeah.
So yeah, he defeated Jay Lethal.
Yes, one of the cornerstones of Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal.
Yes,
And it was fine.
it was a match.
It was a match.
It was a pre-show.
Our talking points that we do, where I play Eddie Kingston and you play his mom,
Yes.
was far more entertaining than the actual
Far
match.
more entertaining. Second match of the pre-show, we had Claudio Castagnoli defeating Buddy Matthews by submission.
Yes, all the buildup of a 30-second promo from Friday night led to this match.
Yes.
So you can see how much care that they really give into the pay-per-views these times.
Yeah.
It was a really good match, but
Yeah.
no real reason to care.
Yeah. It was just kind of out of nowhere. I mean, Claudio was always a great wrestler, so it was a good match, but yeah. And then finally, we had MJF tag teaming with Samoa Joe because Adam Cole is out still, and defeating the Guns.
Yes, my least favorite tag team in all of wrestling,
Yes.
the Guns.
Yes.
And I don't say that lightly
No.
either, because there's a lot of terrible tag teams. But yeah, MJF partnered up with Samoa Joe because he needed to have a partner this time, even though he defeated Aussie Open last month in a handicap match.
Yes.
But they decided that he needed a partner this time, and no one would tag with him, but Samoa Joe would, if MJF would give him a title shot.
Yes.
And that looks to be the case.
Well,
but
yes.
after the match,
Yes.
there were some shenanigans that happened.
There was.
Yes, they decided to, the Guns decided to take a chair and bash the crap out of MJF's left knee, which sent him to the hospital. Or sorry,
The local medical
facility. And Adam Cole, of all people, showed up during the match.
Yes.
And then he walked back there on his crutches, and MJF was like, "Don't let them take my title, don't let them take my title."
Exactly.
Then some stuff would come up later.
Yes.
But that was it for 0 hour.
Yes.
And then the real pay-per-view began.
Yes. So first up, the real pay-per-view, we had Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, with Ric Flair.
Doesn't Ric Flair add so much?
He had so much. They defeated the Patriarchy, which is Christian Cage, or Christabel, as I like to say.
Or Christian Cage.
Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne.
Yes, I knew Sting was going to win this because I can't imagine that he's going to lose any matches until his final match.
Yeah, yeah.
Because why would they build him up to lose?
That's true, that's true.
But, well, I should say that, we did our predictions throughout the night, and you won by one.
I did. It started off with you, like, winning everything, though.
I had a winning streak in the first half, and then all of a sudden it just went the opposite direction.
Yes.
But, a lot of aerial moves, a lot of different stuff that was going on, but again, like, I don't understand why they fuse these feuds together into what they're doing. It just felt flat to me. And then when you had Ric Flair, who's just standing there for no reason, and then just, like, topples over like Mole Man when he gets hit in the groin by a football.
Oh, yes.
But, you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fine match. I did like at the end, Darby pointed out this would be Sting's last match in California ever. That was pretty sweet. And I think Sting's son was in the audience. So it was a moment.
And Darby dropped a lot of F-bombs during that
did.
promo as well.
Up next, we had Orange Cassidy with Hook defeating Jon Moxley, who had Wheeler Yuta by his side.
Well, you forgot that it was for the International Championship.
Yes, it was.
And Moxley already had a bandage on his forehead, so he pre-cut himself.
Yeah.
So he could start bleeding
Exactly.
immediately. I didn't know who was going to win this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad it's Orange Cassidy because, it's like he actually defends the title all the time and all that stuff. But again, it was just another match that AEW used to stay away from rematches.
Yeah.
Now they're using it as a crutch, and I don't like it.
Yeah, they use it way too often. The title bounces around way too much.
And what about that ratings system as well, too?
Doesn't exist.
Oh, it exists. They just don't care.
Yeah, well, yeah. Then up next, we had Timeless Tony Storm with Luther defeating Hikaru Shida by pinfall for the AEW's Women's World Championship.
Yes, Tony Storm is now the champion.
Yes.
By stealing Goldust's gimmick.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Just a little more manic.
Yeah.
In the manic depressive side.
Yes, definitely.
And Luther. But this was gonna happen because they're pushing the gimmick so hard.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm sure Sheeta's going back to Stardom for a bit. She'll be back in 2024.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I don't understand why they keep giving her the title all the time if she's not gonna be full time here. But I digress.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine. See?
It was fine. Yeah.
Again, we're going back into this. Fine, not your cup of tea.
Well, I
Which
don't
one
use
is
cup of
it?
tea for wrestling.
All right.
Up next, we had Ricky Starks and Big Bill defeating LFI, which is Rushin Berlistico, and FTR, and the Kings of Black Throne.
In a ladder match.
Yes.
For the tag team titles.
Yes.
And you pretty much nailed it on the head. This is when everything started going against me for the pay-per-view.
Yes.
I had everything else, but this was the match where like everything just steered the opposite direction. But you nailed it perfectly.
I guess that Ricky Starks and Big Bill would maintain the championship because for some reason lately they love tag teams that aren't actually tag teams. And I'll get a little bit more into this in the after show that I watch as well.
I did not because I went to sleep early because of the Zornheim interview that I did. But I thought it was a good match. There was a lot of cool spots and everything.
Yeah.
I just didn't care who was really in it.
Well, one thing you noted, like they kept having the ladder like way off from where the titles were.
Yes.
It's like, what are you doing? You're clearly not going to get it now.
And Brody King did a lot of insane spots as well.
He did.
And him and Danhausen are probably my two favorites left in AEW right now.
That is understandable. Up next, we had Julia Hart defeating Chris Statlander and Sky Blue for the AEW TBS Championship.
Yeah. The girl from Bloomington, Minnesota, just one town over from us, is now the TBS champion.
Yes.
I knew Statlander was gonna lose the title because they've done absolutely nothing with her.
Yeah.
They've been building up Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And I guess it actually makes sense when you look at wrestling logic. It has to go to a babyface, then a heel, then a babyface, then a heel.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go heel, face, anything like that. So again, you hit the nail on the head with this one, even if that wasn't your logic behind it. But apparently on Collision they've been building her up, but we don't watch Collision.
Yeah.
So it feels weird to me, but hey, at least they're trying to make new stars.
I guess. Like, it's just sad that they didn't push Christian Lander more, because I feel like people were so excited to have her back and to have her actually win it, because she should have won it in the past. But it just fell flat. It just fell flat, and so I knew it was going to change from her. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Julia Hart or Sky Blue, so I'm like, there are better people out there that you could put it on, but, whatever.
Now, before the next match,
yes,
there was a big old announcement that happened.
There was.
Tony Khan said that there was going to be a blockbuster signing.
Yes.
Now, I basically went through every single wrestler in the book of who this could have been, and so many fears, so many scary things that I thought were going to happen. One thing to point out, Ronda Rousey showed up in Ring of Honor.
Yes.
The taping got filmed Friday night.
Yes.
And she might be signing with AEW in the future.
I might have a little bit to talk about that in the after show too.
Okay, well, again, I'm going off of what I've dealt with.
Yep.
So I was really scared. There was a lot of names talked about. Dolph Ziggler was one. But it turns out you were right all along, once again, with who they signed. And who was that?
It was Will Ospreay from New Japan. So he's still finishing out his contract with New Japan, but starting next year, he will be with AEW.
Yeah, I'm assuming sometime after Wrestle Kingdom, he's going to be free to join up and everything. Usually with New Japan contracts, they're done at the end of January. So that'd be right in time for Revolution, which is either in early May or late February, depending on the calendar schedule.
Yes.
So, and it's also strange because he came out like with a babyface pop.
Yeah.
But last time we saw him, he was with the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
So
I think that's over.
Yeah. Unceremoniously, he left the Don Callis family, and he's going to be a babyface.
Don't think about it at all anymore.
Never happened.
Never happened.
Now, next up was actually my match of the night.
Mine as well, actually. Yeah. It was Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana defeating Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match. And Josh is doing his Prince Nana dance right now, just flailing his arms about.
When I drive, and I swerve when I drive.
For somebody who has as much rhythm as you do with drumming and stuff like that, when it comes to Prince Nana's dance, no.
Well, no one can be as smooth as when he does it.
Well, that is true.
Then again, look at the audience when they try to do it.
Exactly.
I'm better than that, aren't I? Anyways.
Of course you are. Yeah.
Anyways, Texas Death Match.
Yes.
One of the bloodiest matches I've seen in quite some time.
It was insane.
I mean, I haven't. There's some CZW, XPW, and backyard wrestling matches that had less blood than this one did.
Yes.
It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So much broken glass and barbed wire, and it was absolutely insane.
It was.
But the right person won.
Yeah.
Even though I thought it should have been Hangman, especially with all the shenanigans that was going on.
Yeah.
Hangman didn't really need the win.
Yeah, Swerve needs it more, because Hangman's so loved anyways.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, absolute bloody battle and longest match of the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost a half hour. And yeah, that was almost worth the $5 alone.
I would agree with that. It was an excellent match.
Yeah.
Up next, we had the Golden Jets, which was Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega.
Horrible name.
Horrible name.
Defeating
the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, for not for a title.
If the Bucks won,
yeah,
then the Golden Jets were to break up.
Yes.
But if the Golden Jets won, they get the tag team shot that the Young Bucks won a few weeks back.
Yes.
So now we're going to be getting the Golden Jets versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill.
So two non-tag teams.
Yes. Which I imagine is going to be happening at their next pay-per-view, World's End.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. This kind of solidified the Young Bucks' heel turn.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they tried cheating a lot, and then they threw major tantrums after they lost, like beating chairs against the ring.
Aggressively doing so.
And again, I asked during all this, where's Brandon Cutler?
Right. Yeah.
Where is his Lisa Frank onesie that he always wears?
Oh, he's back at home and not working anymore. Just saying.
And then finally
we had MJF. Well, Adam Cole.
We forgot to mention this.
Yes, we forgot to mention One Piece.
Yes, Tony Schiavone was with Jay White, and he was going to say because MJF could no longer compete, that Jay White would win the title by forfeit.
Right, but then Adam Cole comes out from the back on his crutches still and says, "No, I promised MJF I I will fight the match for him, which was a big swerve.
Swerve.
But then we get to the main match, and Jay White is out there. Adam Cole makes it down into the ring. And then all of a sudden, what do you hear?
MJF's music.
Well, no, you hear the sirens.
Oh, yes. You hear the sirens from the ambulance from the local medical facility.
That MJF is driving himself.
Yes. He is now he's going to be a convicted felon because he's on camera stealing his ambulance.
Yes.
And then he somehow makes it from the back of the arena all the way to the center of the arena.
Yes.
No issues whatsoever.
Within like a minute.
And then, of course, faking the knee injury. I'm sorry, with his real knee injury.
Exactly.
Competing in the match, and only 10 seconds shorter than the death match, which is quite a surprise.
Yes.
But, through thick and thin, and cheating,
yes,
MJF beat Jay White.
He did.
To retain the title.
He did.
And it was a weird ending. Like, I could have sworn, like, Adam Cole was going to turn on MJF.
It just felt like something else should have happened, because they've been teasing this devil all along, and it wasn't revealed, so...
Yeah, who is the devil?
Who is the devil? Yeah.
But, we've spent worse times watching a pay-per-view.
Yeah, there's been worse pay-per-views.
It's still better than WWE pay-per-views, but still, like, we can't keep spending $50 a month on pay-per-views.
That's crazy.
Like that.
That's crazy. So I did go on to watch most of the post-show anyways.
When did you fall asleep?
During the... Well, I'll tell you when I get there. And then I did look up some stuff from after what I missed. So,
okay, fair enough.
So first up, they had MJF out there. He was very, very emotional. He was hurt, first of all. Like, he had hurt himself pretty badly. But also was going on about how he loved wrestling so much, and they really put on some great stuff tonight and stuff. But he also brought up how it was the anniversary of his grandfather passing away, and how he dedicated this match tonight to his grandfather. So that was very sweet.
I didn't know that.
Yup. One kind of funny thing, they had a couple jars of pickles on the table with his picture on it, and he started eating the pickles when he sat down. He made Tony eat a pickle too. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. A bite of pickle, then Tony awkwardly set it to the side.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Next up was Will Ospreay. He just kind of talked a lot about how this was the best decision for him and his family. He's definitely matured a lot. He understands the responsibility of being with AEW. And he thinks it's going to be a test to him being on weekly TV. They had asked a little bit about, like, were there other offers he considered, and he just said this one was the best for him and his girlfriend and his now I can't remember if it's son or daughter, but son. Okay. After that was Julia Hart. Okay. She is not good on the mic. She just sounds like a bratty teenager who doesn't care. No,
was she doing the gimmick, or was she being herself?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, she's just a little awkward on the mic and just sounds like she doesn't care, and I'm too cool for school and blah blah. So that was her.
Maybe it's just a Bloomington thing.
Maybe. But basically, there was a lot of questions about her quick rise, and she didn't really have much to add on to that. And then she did disclose how much she hated the cheerleader gimmick that she was in initially.
Yeah. I thought that was her idea.
No, she hated that. Then after that was Jericho. Omega was not there because he had to go home to take care of his sick cat, apparently. Nothing really new with Jericho, just kind of the usual shenanigans of, the company's great, blah, blah, blah. And then next was Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and
what did they say?
This is the one I fell asleep during.
that explains it.
I did hear that Ricky Starks was going on and really stressing that they aren't tag team wrestlers, they're singles wrestlers that are tag team champions.
There's so many good tag teams in AEW, and they're doing this.
Yeah. And then Bill did go on to a bit of a discussion about his sobriety and how he went through some really rough times in the past, and wrestling kind of saved him and stuff like that. That was actually a really endearing thing to hear.
And you can't teach that.
And then after that, Tony chatted. So I missed this part, but I did look up some stuff. He did clarify the Continental Classic that is coming up is basically a triple crown. It's the Ring of Honor World Championship, the New Japan Strong Openweight, and the AEW Continental Championship. There's no new title, but it's consolidating 3 titles, he said.
So they're going to be carrying 3 belts.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
He said that Rhonda has not signed, based off another appearance she made recently. He thought it would be a great idea to bring her in to build interest for Ring of Honor, but I don't know that anything is going to come of that.
I think that's going to go over like what part.
Yes. And then finally, somebody asked about Mercedes Monet. Tony said that he has had multiple conversations with her and would love to have her. So basically, I think she's holding out for more money or something like that.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I missed a couple things.
Yeah, but nothing too crazy. No CM Punk moments.
All right, so I made the right decision going to bed early.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our talk for AEW. Are we going to be covering World's End next month?
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. So, up next is our movie segment. We really only have one to talk about this week, but it is in holiday spirit. We went and saw Thanksgiving.
Yes, originally this was a fake movie trailer in the conglomeration of Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez in their production of Grindhouse.
Yes.
That's originally where Machete came from with Your Man.
Yes.
But Thanksgiving was another one of the fake trailers, and they finally decided to make a full-blown movie out of it. Mm-hmm. And my problem with Eli Roth movies, I have talked about with you for so long.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if I've talked about it on the show here or not. I can't remember. But Eli Roth makes every character so hateable.
That is true.
Like, you don't care what happens to any of them at the end because they're all detestable. Like, if they all get unalived, fine. Good for them. But I will say this time around, it was a very enjoyable movie.
It was.
It was like horror / black comedy at the same time, because they cover a lot of what's going on in the world of social media in some aspects. They cover Black Friday about 10 or 15 years too late.
Yes.
And they also make a very intriguing serial killer story as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like you said, some of the content is like around Black Friday shopping in store, which just isn't as extreme as it once was, but still, though, it made its point, but it added a lot more of the social media side of it, how so much is just like about capturing it to post on social media to get kind of your quick fame and stuff like that.
But it was hilarious at the same time.
Oh, it was hilarious. Such gory scenes, like just crazy things happening. And it was just a fun movie. And like, it's one of those kind of holiday horrors that you can totally see yourself coming back to on a yearly basis just for the holiday spirit.
And even if you don't like horror movies, but you love Grey's Anatomy, McDreamy is in a starring role in the film.
Yes.
If you like seeing what Patrick Dempsey's up to in 2023, you might want to give this one a shot.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't as big of regard in the movie as well. And that, I think that was actually a really smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you weren't just like, it's like, oh, I remember them from so-and-so and so-and-so. You were able to kind of look at it more as like real people.
Yeah, really the only known people were the adults.
Yeah.
Like the kids were all unknowns as far as I know anyways, so.
Yeah, so it was able to be a little more enjoyable. And it leaves things open for potential franchise, which I think there could be a lot done with it.
Absolutely.
Without trying to give anything away, there could be more to the story.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you were on the fence about it, I think you should give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Or wait till it's on Peacock.
Yes.
Regardless, you might have a good time.
So up next, we got some video game chatter. I don't have a whole lot from my end this week. I've continued playing Love Island, but nothing too crazy happened this week. But you did download a few new games on Xbox.
Yes, and this actually goes back into wrestling as well. No, I did not download Fight Forever or 2K23.
No.
There was a gimmick match that happened back on Wednesday. That was the Like a Dragon Gaiden Street Fight. And there was a lot of imagery that takes place from the Like Dragon Yakuza series. And it was a horrible match, first of all.
Yes.
Paul White, formerly known as the Big Show, should not have been involved in that whatsoever.
No.
But I digress. I really wanted to pick up the game for a while, but it's a very short game, and I didn't feel like spending $50 on it.
Yeah.
But then, all of a sudden, I came across something saying that it was on Game Pass. I was like, what? So then I looked it up, and it turns out it's for free on Game Pass.
Yes.
So I downloaded that immediately. And then there was a couple other games I wanted to try out. Need for Speed Unbound, which is the latest Need for Speed game. I immediately lost interest in it.
Oh.
It feels like the same game that they put out before, but they added kind of like this like street anime cartoonish look behind it.
Ew.
Yeah, not really my bag.
Yeah.
I just like a straight ahead one. I might go back to it when I need something brainless.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not really my bag, and I can see why they're doing a new game next year. And then I also downloaded the remake of Dead Space. I have not played that yet, but I heard that is potentially the best horror game of the year, alongside Resident Evil 4 remake. So I'm interested to try that out.
Yeah.
But going back to Like a Dragon Gaiden, I haven't gotten too far into it. I played it for a little bit, and the thing about the Yakuza Like a Dragon series is that there is a lot of talking.
Yes.
There is a lot of talking. Right up there with other games of the style. Like, there's so much story and dialogue that you gotta get through to be able to play some of it. And it is rewarding, especially when you know the story, and I've kept up with it for so long, and just being able to get more intrigued and get excited for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is coming out at the end of January, which makes me wonder if that's gonna be on Game Pass, which I would be very, very happy if that's gonna be on Game Pass. But just being able to get a little side story from it and experience some of the mini games that they've taken away, like golf and pool and playing the Sega arcade games. It's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where the rest of it goes. You've seen a little bit of Need for Speed and Like a Dragon. Do you have any thoughts?
Nothing too much. I mean, it looks fairly similar to the previous games, but, you know, it's a fun style, and I always love the little games you can play in it, the Sega games and stuff like that, so it's fun. Alrighty, and finally, we got some music chat. So there's a couple new singles we heard, and then we're going to be jumping into a discussion on Decibel's top 40 of the year.
Yes. Because they had to beat me.
Exactly. So we checked out the new single from Amaranth. What were your thoughts?
It sounded like it was all chorus and nothing else. It was just the chorus repeated like 7-8 times.
Yeah.
They might have had a verse or two. There was a solo from Olaf, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Because Amaranth doesn't really do solos anymore.
Yes.
Their screamer growler was nowhere to be found, so
Yes.
that was very strange.
That was very strange.
It just feels like a song that's meant to be on top 40 rock radio, and it probably is over in Europe right now.
Maybe.
I don't know if they really have a feel over here when it comes to top 40 rock radio, but
Yeah.
this feels like a song that would be on it.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, I mean, like, once I heard it, I'm like, didn't they used to have a harsh vocalist? Not anymore.
All right, let's go. You've been warned.
Exactly. There's part of the song that sounds like a total rip from ABBA, I feel like. Yeah, it just, I mean, musically, I would say it's better than like Drop Dead Cynical and some of those songs that were a little for me. But I love Nils. I will always love Nils. He has an amazing voice. But other than that,
And easy on the eyes. Right?
Oh, girl, right. But other than that, I will pass.
Fair enough.
And then next we listen to the new Isan single.
Yes, and it'll be coming off of his self-titled double album that'll be coming out.
Oh.
And I say double album because one disc is all metal,
Okay.
and that's the single that we heard. But there's also an alternate version of the single that we heard,
Yeah.
which is all symphonic.
Oh, okay.
So that might be more up your alley.
That, yeah, definitely.
Like, it's just all the orchestra symphonic elements.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the symphonic black metal elements that Isan is so well known for.
Yeah.
I am so excited to check that out. I mean, it's going to be an early contender for top album of 2024 based off of what I heard so far.
Yeah.
And maybe I can cross them off the bucket list finally and get an
Maybe.
interview.
Maybe.
I really hope so. But
Yeah.
what did you think?
Yeah, it was a pretty good song. Yeah, but I'm definitely curious to hear the more orchestrated versions of everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here. Now, hold on to your hats, Lynn, as we talk about 40 albums you probably don't know.
That is true. Let's see if I know any
As
of them.
we talk about the top 40 albums of 2023 as presented by Decibel.
Yes.
All right, so first of all, have you looked at this list?
No, I have not.
Okay. Are you familiar with Decibel magazine?
Yes.
All right. So anyone that's not familiar, they cover the more extreme side of things.
Yes.
Not that I don't cover my fair share of extreme metal,
Right.
but that's pretty much all they really focus on is the extreme stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of albums that I think should be in the list might not be on here.
Yeah.
Or maybe it will. I actually haven't looked at this
Stay
list
tuned.
either. I haven't looked at this list either.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of probably my thoughts on the album and a lot of I haven't heard it from the Metal
Yes.
Faerie.
That is true.
Or not my cup of tea, which
That is true.
is your new slogan when we make merch. It's going to be your cartoon logo of the Metal Faerie, and it's going to say not my cup of tea. But let's get into it. Number 40 is the brand new album from Doheimsgard with Black Medium Current off of Peaceville Records.
Never heard of them.
They are a very avant-garde extreme metal band. I can't imagine they would be up your alley.
No, that would not be up my alley.
39 is Commandus with Wreath of Bleeding Snowfall out of Godorex.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them either, to be honest. I know there's a lot of underground stuff that Decibel covers, a lot of underground extreme stuff, so some of these I'll be hearing for the first time.
Okay.
38, Street Dooms with Reclusive Decay off of Carbonized.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them either. 37 is Obituary with Dying of Everything off of Relapse.
I am aware of them. I don't know if I've listened to that at all. Maybe if you've played it for me,
I have.
Okay, then.
It's very old school death metal.
Yeah.
But they don't have like the pig squeals or anything like that.
That's good.
Like they're like that straight ahead classic death metal. Like they don't do blast beats. They don't. I mean, they're just like very straightforward.
Yeah.
I do like their previous self-titled album more, but I do enjoy the album. 36 is Fires in the Distance with Air Not Meant for Us off of Prosthetic.
Not familiar.
I have played them for you before.
Okay.
They are a more gothic doom metal band.
Okay.
A lot of piano in their stuff, a lot of orchestrated moments. I think you would enjoy them.
Maybe.
35 is Witching with Incendium Translation, or Incendium off of Translation Lost.
I feel like I've heard the name before, but I don't know.
I don't think I've heard this one.
Okay.
Wow, we're going to be getting through this fast.
We
with all
are.
Stuff we don't know. 34 is Circle of Ouroboros with Lumi Vanata Cosmiquet off of His Wounds.
Never heard of them.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
33, I'm surprised it's actually not higher or lower on the list, depending on how you look at it. It's like a closer to number 1. Candle Decapitation with Terrorsight off from Metal Blade.
Yes, I am familiar with them. Not a huge fan, but you've shown me some stuff I like, though.
Yeah, you've actually come around on Cattle Decapitation after not enjoying them at all.
Yes.
So I'll take that as a win.
Yes.
Even if it falls into the not cup of tea, it's still higher up from where it used to be. 32 is Final Gasp with Morning Moon off of Relapse.
Nope, not familiar.
Not heard it. 31, Spirit Adrift, Ghost at the Gallows from Century Media.
I've heard the name, I know.
It's a little more stonery kind of hard rock and metal.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of got like that classic metal kind of feel behind it. It's a little more stonery as well. So I don't know if they'd be your bag. 30, an album that is beloved by Carrie from MSR Cast and Metal Geeks, Kriegsgrav with Fires in the Fall off of Wise Blood.
I know I've heard the name. You've probably played them for me, but...
melodic black metal.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard it enough, but I did enjoy what I heard when we listened to that particular episode where Carrie did an interview for Kriegsgrav.
Yeah.
29, Willhaven with 7 off of Minus Head.
Not familiar.
I am not familiar either. 28, Smolder with Violent Creed of Vengeance from Cruz del Sur.
Not familiar.
I think they're on the brutal side of death metal, if I remember that correctly, but I have not heard it, though. I feel like I'm missing out on so much. I've heard over 200 albums this year that I really gave my time, and I had to narrow it down to 100.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I'm missing everything.
I know, right?
It's never enough.
No.
27 is Cruelty with Untopia from Profound Lore.
No, not familiar.
Not familiar. It sounds like black metal, but I could be wrong on that.
I know one.
26, Night Demon with Outsider on Century Media.
Yes, 100%. It should be much higher.
It should be much higher, but on a list like this, I'm amazed they're even on.
I am too.
So, whether they're at 140 or somewhere in between, I'm just happy to see them represented.
Yes.
I will not give further thoughts because you will hear them later this month.
Yes.
Or next month. Who knows? 25, Incantation with Unholy Defecation from Relapse.
I know of the band, but never really listened to much.
More on like the brutal side of death metal. Very raw sounding.
Yeah.
Unholy Poop. I mean, that's a great name for an album. 24, Filth is Eternal with Find Out from MNRA.
Not familiar.
I am not either. 23, Cannibal Corpse with Chaos Horrific on Metal Blade.
I am familiar and I'm not a fan.
Oh, that's gonna be a problem at some point. I have heard the album, and it is one of their better albums, but I haven't listened to it that much.
Okay.
Because there's 2 Cannibal Corpse albums.
Yeah.
The ones with Corpse Grinder on vocals and the ones with Chris Barnes on vocals.
Yes.
Everything else is just kind of a variation on the same sound. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on who you are, but I just need something a little different.
Yeah.
22, Great Falls with Objects Without Pain on Neuro.
Not familiar.
I am not either. 21 is Krieg with Ruiner off of Profound Lore.
I think I've heard of them.
They are black metal.
Okay.
U.S. black metal.
Okay.
I have not heard the album. I didn't even know that they had a new album.
Yeah.
20 is Rid of Me with Access to the Lonely from Knife Hits.
Not familiar.
I am not familiar either. It sounds like it could be like grindcore to me, but I am going completely just off the name.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Who knows?
19 is Mizmor with Prosaic off of Profound Lore. They really seem to love their Profound Lore at Decibel.
I am not familiar.
I am not familiar either. 18 is Autopsy with Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts off of Peaceville.
I know of them, but I've never really...
We had them during a few episodes back. We had them on 3 Random Songs.
Oh, okay.
You did not like it.
Yeah, well then that's why I did not save the room in my mind for them.
Yeah, classic horror-themed death metal. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Did it make the list? Well, we'll find out if it does.
Yeah.
17, Crucimentum with Obsidian Refractions, also off of Profound Lore.
No idea.
Never heard of them. I can't say anything good or bad because I just discovered them now.
Yeah.
16, Tribunal with The Weight of Remembrance off of $20 Spin.
I think I've heard of them, but I don't remember.
Funeral Doom Metal. A little bit of a cult rock feeling going on there too. It's a duo. I can't remember if they're in a relationship together or not, but it's a duo doing Funeral Doom.
Okay.
Number 15, The Night Eternal with Fatale off of Vaughn.
Maybe I've heard the name before, but maybe I'm just thinking of something else that sounds like that.
I think I'm thinking of something else too. I am not familiar.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know anything despite my knowledge.
Yes.
You know, I'm a trusted source in metal, having listening to it a lot, but I keep discovering bands I've never.
Oh.
Anyways, number 14, Enslaved with Heimdall from Nuclear Blast.
Yeah, I don't know that I've really spent any time with this album, but I know Enslaved.
I've never really gotten your opinion on Enslaved over the years.
They're fine. They're fine. There's some stuff I like. There's fine, you know.
Are they fine or not your cup of tea?
I wouldn't say they're not my cup of tea. I would say they're not my cup of tea because there's some stuff I've liked, but I've never gotten like huge into them.
You're missing out.
Well, I've never taken a ton of time with them, so
I know. I have the whole list of bands that you're supposed to check out, and then you always forget to.
Well, you need to give me this list because
I know.
Yeah.
Look, we're both going through a lot of crap right now. You gotta cut me some slack too. Anyways, my opinion on the Enslaved album, their previous album, Utgard, caught a lot of crap for being a lot more commercial, and I actually thought that was the right choice for the band. This one's a lot more straight ahead with the black metal, more atmospheric sounding, a little bit of the progressive sound, but it's a lot more of the early day Enslaved, which is not a bad thing, but I did like their previous album more.
Okay.
But that's just me. 13, local Minnesota cover band Gel, or maybe this is a different Gel, with Only Constant from Convulse.
I am not familiar.
I remember our local rock station always talking about how Gel was playing at Bogart's or The Rock, and just to tell you how old I am.
Nice.
Yeah, they were a 90s cover band, but I can only assume that this is a different band.
Yes.
12, Enforced with War Remains from Century Media.
I prefer Enforcer.
And they could still be on here.
They could, but yeah, I'm familiar with Enforce. There's some good stuff.
I thoroughly enjoy them. I think they put out the thrash metal album of the year. Number 11, Black Braid with Black Braid 2, a self-titled release, or self-released.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and he is quite simple.
And I wish we could have saw them, but we had some wrestling to watch.
Yes, priorities.
Number 10 is The Keening with Little Bird from Relapse Records.
I am not familiar.
I am not familiar at all. I remember back in the VH1 days, there was a band called Keen.
Oh.
But I can't imagine there's any relation between the two.
No.
All right, number 9, Thantifaxive with Hive Mind Narcosis off of Dark Descent.
Not a clue.
They are Canadian folk metal, black metal.
Okay.
There's some connections to Woods of Ypres.
Okay.
I think at least one of the members was in Woods of Ypres at one point. Completely missed this album.
Okay.
So I completely missed it.
Yeah.
Number 8, Frozen Soul with Glacial Domination from Century Media.
I've heard the name, but I don't know.
Very brutal death metal.
Okay.
They're from Texas, which you wouldn't imagine a name like Frozen Soul coming from Texas.
No.
When we had Sirius for 3 months when you got your new car,
Yeah.
that was the only time I heard them.
Okay.
So I have no other basis to go off of.
Okay.
Number 7, Lamp of Murmur with Saturnian Operation Bloodstorm from Argento.
Dario?
Maybe.
No, I'm not familiar with them.
I am not familiar either. It sounds like it's black metal or doom metal, but I don't know.
Yes.
Number 6, an album I wish I could have heard before I made my top 100.
Yes.
It is Panopticon with the Rime of Memory from Bindrune.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them. I mean, to me, that's more mood music. Like, I have to be in the right state of mind to listen to them or anything like them. So,
Their acoustic stuff makes you cry. I remember that.
Yes.
Fair warning, if I would have gotten this album, it probably would be number 1.
Yeah.
Like most Panopticon albums are.
Yeah.
But considering this is coming out the first week of December and I don't have any press contact for Panopticon, I just don't get to hear it. So
Yeah.
And that's also what happened with Polka Dot Cadaver. So if you're looking forward to those 2 albums, I just didn't get to hear them.
Yes.
So unfortunately, in the words of Bruce Hornsby, that's just the way it is. Number 5, Godthrim with Distortions off of Profound Lore.
Not familiar.
They are a very gothic melodic doom band, kind of in the vein of like Typo and Alice in Chains. It has 4 members of My Dying Bride and Anathema
Okay.
from their death doom era.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely forgot about this album.
Okay.
But it might be something you enjoy. Number 4, Jesus Piece was So Unknown from Century Media.
Never heard of them.
I made a meme a few months back.
Yeah.
From King of the Hill in just a great Christmas episode when he's building the Jimmy Carter Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
And he's with Cotton, like picking up Christmas decorations. And there's a line that he says, "It's Jesus Piece, not hippie piece." So I took the Jesus Piece logo and put it on.
Yes.
Very violent, brutal hardcore.
Okay.
So a lot of breakdowns and a lot of stuff that would not be your bag.
No.
Number 3, Wayfarer with American Gothic off of Profound Lore.
I know of them. I don't really remember.
Talked about them in 3 random songs, and you actually enjoyed them.
Okay.
Yeah. Very North American folk metal. A lot of Western feels behind it with some black metal and death metal thrown in there.
Yeah.
Fantastic album. Number 2, Tomb Mold with The Enduring Spirit off of $20 Spin.
I've heard of them. I don't remember if I've heard them.
They are a band based off of the Bloodborne video game, which is a part of like all the Dark Souls and all those kinds of games. They have a song on Cyberpunk 2077 as well.
Oh, okay.
Very technical progressive death metal.
Yeah.
Might be your thing, might not. I'm guessing not. And number 1, the only one from Season of Mist that I've come across, Horrendous with Ontological Mysterium.
I think I've heard the name, but that's about as far as that goes.
They started off as a very late 80s, early 90s sounding death metal band, that old school death metal sound.
Yeah.
On this album, they've gotten more into the progressive death metal sound of like Cynic and Atheist and Edge of Sanity kind of sound. The only album I enjoy on a production level because they actually raised the production value on this one, so it doesn't just sound like it's a raw demo tape. Yeah, I can see why it's number 1.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what do you think of Decibel's Top 40?
Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. With a couple exceptions.
Yeah, a lot of albums I just haven't heard, so I can't really give much of a basis on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's anything that's not worthy of being on a top 40 list for something on the grandeur of Decibel. A lot of albums I think should be higher, maybe some lower, but overall I think it's a good underground extreme metal list.
Yeah.
So, I can't really knock it. But if you're looking for something much more in-depth, make sure starting next Monday to check out Heavy Debriefings Top 100 Albums of 2023.
Yes.
They'll be in written form and on YouTube.
And we'll be talking about it on the show as well.
Yes. Well, with that, we'll be talking about our collective top 30 albums.
Yes.
So I'll have 70 albums that you have to look elsewhere for.
Yes.
But you will get collectively up to 60 albums from the both of us.
Yes.
I imagine there will be some that match up, maybe in different spots.
Maybe.
I am so curious what is in your list.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a good time. It was fun going over this list, but I think it's time for us to hit the old dust trail.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for tuning in, episode 19 of the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Make sure to keep up with us on social media, not on X, but you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Blue Sky, and of course, heavydebriefings.weebly.com for all of your heavy debriefing needs.
Yes.
And if you're checking this out on Sunday, tune in tomorrow on YouTube for my interview with Zorn from Zornheim, who made me feel better than I feel like I deserve to be with all of his very nice, encouraging words that he's given me.
Yes.
I started tearing up towards the end. I didn't want him to see that, but I started
Yeah.
tearing up from all the great things that he said about me. And their brand new EP, like we talked about in 3 random songs, The Forgotten Inmates, available now through Noble Demon. Go check that out. It is fantastic. And for the Metal Faerie, this is Josh Ronquist for the Heavy Debriefings podcast saying, see ya.